Hi, my name is Angela Fox, and I work with the Indiana State Library in the Library Development Office. One of my jobs there is to oversee the Indiana Public Library Annual Report. In this brief tutorial, we'll take a look at Section 4 of that report, Operating Revenue. This section helps our library and IMLS track the financial health of libraries over time, as well as showing where library funds are coming from. A few overall notes before we look at specific questions. For this section, you'll be reporting revenue from 2023. Include 2023 funds that were received in January of 2024. Don't report transfers between funds. And don't report money that's placed in a non-operating fund, such as rainy day, LURF, or any other. If you took out a loan or special appropriation for a major project that was receipted into a non-operating fund, it will most likely need to be reported in Section 6, Capital Revenue. This section asks you to break down operating revenue into 4 major categories: local, state, and other. One final logistical note: when you're entering monetary amounts into this section, there's no need to add dollar signs or commas. The report will do that formatting for you. You also don't need to add cents. If you add cents, you'll find that the report just rounds it to the nearest dollar. We start with local revenue, which makes up the bulk of library operating funds in Indiana. Question 3, contractual revenue received for service, is specifically for libraries that have contracts with what would be otherwise unserved municipalities. So for most libraries, there will be nothing there. For question 4, we see the first of a handful of automatic calculations. You can't change the number by typing directly in that field. You can only change that number by updating the answers that feed into it. Moving on to state government revenue, I want to take a look at question 8, the broadband connectivity grant, because there's always a bit of confusion around this every year. This is not E-rate. For most of our libraries, E-rate is a discount that's applied directly to the internet bill. What the broadband connectivity grant is actual money that's deposited from our state library into your library's account, and it's meant to help you cover any internet bills that E-rate may not have forgiven for you. If you received a grant through the state library, it was most likely federal money. ISL acts as a pass-through agency for federal funds, which is why we report them here in federal government revenue. In years past, LSTA subgrants, CARES mini grants, and ARPA funds would be reported here. However, with this being an off year for the subgrants and with CARES and ARPA wrapped, it's unlikely that most libraries will have anything to report here. If your library applied directly to a federal agency for funding, if you went to IMLS's page and applied directly to them for a grant and received something, this is where you'd report it. But for most libraries, that will be zeros across the board. Under other revenue, we have question 16 for plaque reimbursement, which is another pre-fill. This represents money from the state that goes to a very small number of our highest net lenders, maybe 25 or 30 in any given year. For most of you, it will be 0. Section 4 wraps with one final space to enter miscellaneous revenue, so revenue that doesn't really fit anywhere else. And then there are 2 automated calculations, one for the total of that other income, and then finally the grand total of your local, state, federal, and other revenue all added together. And that brings us to the end of Section 4. If you have any questions about this or any other section, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Angela Fox, and you can see my contact information there. If I'm not available or you wish to speak to someone else, you can contact the LDO directly through that toll-free number on your screen or through that shared LDO email.